And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Because all the blessings that we're going to get, which is entailing the kingdom of heaven, Isaiah the 60th chapter, I'm going to start at the 10th verse and read on down. It says, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. So the sons of strangers, that's talking about the actual strangers, the other nations, shall build up thy walls. We're going to have them in slavery. So they're going to be building the kingdom of heaven, because we're not building nothing. We're not lifting the hand to move nothing. It says, for in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles. That's talking about the actual Gentiles. We're going to take all of their substance, and that their kings may be brought.
And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Verse 13, and the glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, the box together to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. So the land of Israel, the land of Jerusalem, is going to be made glorious. It's going to be made glorious once again. The kingdom is going to be built up. We had a taste of that during the time of Solomon's reign, which was for about 40 years. Verse 14, the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet. And they shall call thee the city of the Lord. The word Zion means monument, the monument of the Holy One of Israel. Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shalt suck the breasts of kings, meaning we're going to take all their substance. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord thy power, the Lord and thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. For brass I will bring thee gold, and for iron I will bring thee silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. And I will make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee, but the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and the power thy glory. The sun shall no more go down, meaning our kingdom is not going to go down. In other words, once we get back in power, we're going to be in power forever. The sun is never going to go down on our kingdom again. The sun is never going to set on our kingdom. We're going to always shine, and we're going to always be in that glory once we get into the kingdom of heaven. There's no more going back into slavery under the other nations. Esau's not going to rise back up and put us in captivity. Ham, Japheth, Ishmael, none of the other nations are going to rise up and take us down ever again. When we get on top this time, we're going to remain on top. Neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. So no more mourning, no more crying, no more vexation of spirit, no more weeping, no more hopelessness because of the condition that we're in as Israelites right now. Verse 21, thy people also shall be all righteous, they shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. Verse 22, a little one shall become 1,000. This is in the kingdom. So what is this talking about? We're going to have sex. Again, like I said, The 2/3 that are going to pass in this destruction, the 2/3 are going to come back through the 1/3 that make it. The Lord said, 2/3 shall be cut off and die, and the third will I bring through the fire. It says, a little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right. And what I want to get into today, this morning news and prophecy. Okay. This devil, he's scrambling, trying to pull this off. Okay. And we go into this often, mainly daily. We speak about how, the devil has a hell of a task. What the Lord has given this devil to try to pull off is no easy feat. Okay. And this devil has a lot that he's trying to hold in order as he's trying to pull off, transitioning from the old system to the new system. Okay. Dismantling this system, causing uproar over here, false flag here, crisis actors. You can tell, things are being watered down because he's stretched in. Okay. He's stretched in. I have hopefully it can be the morning news and prophecy in the morning, man. But I got a pretty good interview I was listening to last night, and this Moabite professor, he might be Jake, yeah, he got a little salt, but he was just breaking down, man, that nothing that these devils are doing is making any sense, and there's a time where there's a method to this man's madness, but then we have to factor in that the Lord is stripping this man from wisdom. Okay, he doesn't have the ability to pull things off like he once had. And that's why it's going to eventually, he's just going to be like a madman sparing none. Okay, that's him at the peak of his frustration because the Lord is frustrating this man as he's trying to pull this off. He's not peacefully, calmly, just sitting in the pocket, all right, making moves. No, this man is scrambling. Okay, Esau's in scramble mode. Okay, and it's beautiful to see. If a brother want to post that, Sirach 25:7. I said we can read that every day because we're watching it happen real time. Okay, so what I want to do get into some precepts, and then I got a few videos to get into. But when you go to the book, okay, of Isaiah 44:24, it said, "Thus said the Lord, thy Redeemer." And this is addressing us because the Lord is our Redeemer. You see, we're about to be redeemed. We're coming to the time where the Lord is going to redeem his people, all right, beginning with his elect. Okay. So the Lord is, prepping Esau to be removed from power and go into captivity. And then he's prepping us for rulership after the fall of Esau. Okay. Esau is the end of an age and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, man. Okay. So everything that this man is doing, to try to hold up this empire, okay, to try to establish dominance is working against him. Everything is working against this devil. on every front, because when you fight a war, all right, sometimes you fight wars on multiple fronts. Okay, and this devil, he's at war with the earth on multiple fronts, and he's losing ground everywhere. Okay, he's losing, the information war. That's why he has to try to now he wants to try to censor the internet, push this hate crime. Okay, hate speech thing. You see, he got that front that he's fighting. Okay, he's trying to keep these nations in line. Okay, over there in the region of what they call the Middle East, or these Gulf Arab states. Okay, he's trying to keep them aligned, and he's losing that war. We're going to get that as well. Okay, so what we're seeing with this devil, then also the civil unrest. He needs civil unrest to justify, him bringing the insurrection act, but people are not reacting and responding how he wants them to react. So he has to turn it up a notch with that. Okay, so on every front, this devil is scrambling, trying to pull this off, man, and he's all right looking bad. Okay, that's why that last ditch effort, okay, is going to be that sword, man. He just gonna wild out. Okay, Isaiah 44:24 said, "Thus said the Lord thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself." And see, this one, the truth has brought us, into a more thorough understanding of he is, because for the longest, under Christianity, which is a major, side out, because it has you looking at the so-called white man as God. Okay, how you looking at Esau like he's God. Okay, like he's right there on the tier with the Most High. We began to look at this man to be greater. In Christianity, in the world in general, people look at this man as far greater than what he is. Okay, and he's just a man that the Lord propped up, just a heavenly Father that's orchestrating everything, that created everything. Okay, it's his wisdom. Okay, that's operating the earth, man. And right, and it's this devil's foolishness that's messing it up. Okay, so what we're saying is the Lord, is bringing this man's kingdom to a halt. Okay, and just as our kingdom is being established by wisdom, the Lord has given us, as the scriptures say, wisdom bringing forth into a kingdom. Okay, wisdom bringing forth into a kingdom. So just as we're being established by wisdom, okay, the true wisdom of Yahweh by Shema Shai, this devil, okay, the wisdom that he has on the left hand to run the earth in wickedness, he's being stripped from that wisdom, man. So while we're being built up by true wisdom, the Lord is stripping this man, okay, from the wisdom he was, okay, allowed to have to run the earth, man. Okay, so it's like a seesaw effect. As Esau comes down, we go up. It's a direct correlation. Okay, dealing with Jacob and Esau, just like the brother has here. He's a brother remnant loyal to Yahushua. 2nd Ezra 6:9. Okay, and it says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." Man, you see, so Esau is the end of this age. Okay, so the Lord is phasing this man's rulership out. And Esau mind, he finna throw up, this new world order, this digital utopia where he just got complete control. He can play the Most High. That's why scriptures say, "Why do the heathen rage and imagine the vain things?" That's vanity. Okay, the will of the Most High is not for Esau. All right, to establish that he's going to get to a point, and the Lord's going to intervene. All right, the Most High don't want that bullshit in the earth, man. Esau talking about digital currency, you know, brain chip interface and all this old madness this nigga trying to throw up. The Most High don't want that bullshit, man. The Most High finna reject that shit. Okay, and he gonna send his son, all right, to dismantle through fire, man. He gonna melt, okay, Esau's plans. Literally gonna melt this devil's plans, man. Okay, So Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it. Their followers, man. Okay, so it's just like that seesaw effect. Esau is going down, and we're coming up. His downfall is directly connected to, okay, our rise. Okay, yeah. Let's get this. The brother you call hopeful 144 said Job 8:22. It says, "They that hate thee shall be clothed with shame." All right, and we have to understand this devil, he hates, okay, our power, man. He hates the heavenly Father. He hates the Son. He hates Israelites. He hates righteousness. Okay, and that's why the Father hates him. Okay, but see, the Father has the power to really enforce His hatred on a whole nother level. Okay, and it says, Job 8:22 said, "They that hate thee shall be clothed with shame, and the dwelling place of the wicked shall come to naught." Man, so the dwelling place of the wicked is coming to naught, to nothing. Okay, and this is what we're seeing, and it's beautiful to see this man, all right, spiral out of control, crash and burn. Okay, Esau is going to go out in a very dishonorable and tacky, okay, laughable fashion, man. You see, and the Lord set this nigga up for failure, man, and to be embarrassed, man. This nigga gonna go out in a very embarrassing fashion, man. Okay, is this the man? You see, so this man is gonna go out with dishonor. Okay, so let's go back here to Isaiah. I'm gonna read 44, then jump to 45. It says, Isaiah 44:24. Thus said the Lord thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself, that frustrated the tokens of liars, and maketh diviners mad, that turneth wise men backward, okay, and maketh their knowledge foolish. And this is what we're seeing. Okay, the Most High is frustrating the tokens of liars. Esau, Edom. Esau is frustrated in his plans, man. Okay, this is not how this devil mapped it out, man. He got certain things that's working how he wanted, but then there's things that's not working. Okay, we can't look at Esau like he just got every T crossed and every I dotted. Nah, man. Okay, he's not omnipotent. You see, there's a lot of holes, okay, in this devil's wicked scheme. Okay, and the Most High is exposing this man more and more. So the Most High has this man frustrated. Okay, he's mad. Okay, he said he turned the wise men backward and make their knowledge foolish. Okay, a brother can get that with that Sirach 19 and I think 22. Yep, Sirach 19 and 22. If a brother is able to post that, I know some brothers be at work, but let's play this. Let's go into these different Bibles. We'll get the video in a minute. So let's go into these different translations. With Isaiah 44:25, it says, "Who?" This is the New King James version. It says, "Who frustrate the signs of babblers." Okay, and this is what Esau has become, just a babbler. Okay, listen to this nigga talking. Like, what is this nigga talking about, man? Okay, Agenda 2030, sustainable development goal, SDGs, and you know, the carbon footprint. Okay, carbon emissions. And we got to get this down. And the cows. We got to reduce the number of cows, because cows, they bad for the carbon. You see, this is why we got to 3D print the food. Okay, he's just a babbler, man. He's just talking. Okay. It says, "Who frustrate the signs of babblers and drive diviners mad, who turn wise men backward, okay, and make their knowledge foolishness," man. Okay, so the Lord, all this devil has, pumped himself up, to be this high IQ, okay, just this, significant nigga in the earth, okay, this God like, entity of a nation, all right, the great white man. Okay, so he's hyped himself up. All right, and now what we're seeing, all to get this to this point where it's complete foolishness what this devil has planned and what he's trying to pull off, man. Okay, you read this in NLT, said who frustrate the omens of empty talkers, okay, and humiliates the omen readers who overturn the counsel of the wise men and make their advice seem foolish, man. Okay, because their counsels is utter foolishness, man. What they trying to do is utter foolishness, man. They get it together in these councils and you know these different secret, all right, councils and the elites and they getting these certain nations and leaders together, and this is the advice that's being given, and it's terrible, man. Okay, the advice that this devil is running with to try to pull this off, man. This is terrible advice, man. Okay, that's why you see, everything that this devil is doing is like there's no coordination. Okay, like what was the point of airstriking Nigeria? Like what did they do? Like what's the point of it? They don't even talk about it no more. So you just went and airstrike, killed civilians as usual, and now what? Who made that call, man? You see, because when you start a military operation, you have goals in mind that you want to achieve militarily. Okay, this nigga just making moves with no goals in mind. Now, also we know that these devils are scrambling for this new world order, but there's things that they're doing that it's like, what are you doing? Okay, so let's get about two more. They want to get their word frustrated. Okay, this NLT says I expose the false prophets as liars. Okay, because Esau is the ultimate false prophet. Okay, he hops up there with his science and his data telling you what it's going to be like, and by the year 2040, we got to do this, or he's the biggest false prophet, man. Okay, it says to make fools of fortune tellers, I cause the wise to give bad advice, thus proving them to be fools, man. Okay, so we're seeing that this man is operating off terrible advice, man. The fact that they agreed, like, look, we're gonna replace the Most High with technology. We're gonna fight Yahushua when he come back with the angels. Okay, the fact that there's even an agenda, it's terrible advice, man. They're just like Esau selling his birthright for a meal, for some venison, okay, some uncooked meat. Okay, this man's decision making was never, top tier. Okay, we have to understand dealing with this devil. His decision making has never been top tier. Going back to, all right, their great forefather Esau, sold the birthright. He sold immortality. Okay, he sold off spiritual power. He sold off ruling forever. Okay, for a meal. Okay, for a quick meal. Which the birthright was never his, but it shows you the mindset of Esau. Okay, his decision making has never been top tier. The only reason Esau was in power, the Lord propped this nigga up, man. And that's why we see the Lord is stripping, okay, this devil down. Okay, he's not fit to rule or run anything. Okay, the Lord showed his power by propping the most base men on earth in power. Okay, so the Lord has propped this man up, but now the Lord bringing this man down. Okay, all the wise counsel and the wise decision makings, or decision making that this devil, has used to having. Okay, it comes from up top, through the left hand side, but it all comes from up top. And now the Lord is withdrawing that, and the devil is exposed, man. Okay, and he's frustrated. You see, so let's read this one more. AMP, it said, frustrating the signs and confusing the omen of boasters, false prophets, making fools out of fortune tellers, counteracting the wise and making their knowledge ridiculous. Okay, so going forward, man, this is going to be a circus that this man, it's going to be the earth is going to turn to a circus with the shit that he's trying to pull off, man. Okay, we're finna witness terrible decision making, back to back to back to back, horrible decision making. You see, so I want to get that word frustrated, okay? Because this is what the Lord is doing in real time. Okay, the devil is frustrated. So let's go here. Yeah, so we go to the word frustrated, which in the Hebrew is parar. All right, parar in the Hebrew, which goes into break, to frustrate. All right, to make ineffectual, which means non-effective. Okay, and even one of the things that the devil used to utilize was sanctions on these nations, but now them sanctions don't have the effect anymore. Okay, the threats that come from the American government, they don't have the threat that they don't have the effect that they once had. Okay, there was a time when America could look at you and these nations were getting order. Okay, but that's not effective as it once was. Okay, it says to be broken, to break to bits, to shatter, to split and divide. Okay, so the Most High is breaking this shit up, man, and he's causing these elites to be divided amongst one another. Okay, and as we see, the closer they get to trying to establish this new world order, all right, the closer they get to war. It's directly it's directly connected. Okay, so as he take a step towards, okay, this new world order, this new system, he's taking a step towards war. They run right there together. Okay, because the Most High has these devils divided. He's breaking this shit up, man. Okay, everything that this devil, had once had in concrete, well, the Most High is breaking it up. Okay, so I'm gonna read, because on the flip side, dealing with the duality of it. Let's go back. Um, I want to read verse 26 as well. Okay, so going back to Isaiah 44, it says, verse 25, it said, that frustrated the tokens of liars and make the diviners mad, that turneth the wise men backward and maketh their knowledge foolish, that confirmeth the word of his servant and performeth the counsel of his messengers, that said to Jerusalem, thou shalt be inhabited, and the cities of Judah, ye shall be built, and I will raise up the decayed places thereof. So on the flip side, okay, the Lord is confirming the words of his servant, beginning with Yahweh Shai, which is the volume of the book. Okay, so everything written in the scriptures, okay, is happening, man. And part of that is Esau collapse, his fall, his captivity. Okay, so that's happening. But then also, the Lord said he will what? Raise up the tabernacle of David. So he's performing that as well. Okay, so this devil is becoming frustrated. Okay, the Lord got this man going backwards in his counsel. You see, he's undoing himself. We're being built up and prepped for the next rulership. Okay, it says, thus said to Jerusalem, thou shalt be inhabited. Man, that's nation built. Okay, to Judah you shall be built, and I will raise up the decayed places thereof. And it begins with the people being built up. All right, their remnant, the elect being built up, man. And then as we come out of those chariots, man, we're going to actual nation build and build infrastructure. Okay, for an everlasting kingdom. So this is what we're seeing, playing out, on both sides. Okay, now let's go here Um, oh yeah, brothers got that. Let me cue this video up real quick. So this is you got Trump, which that nigga there is. You can tell he is exhausted. Okay, they got him out there. All right, so let's go here. We have this incident dealing with Trump. Okay, because he just middle management. Okay, but this the brother remnant loyal to Yahweh Shah Sirach 19 and 22 said the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, neither at any time the counsel of sinners prudence. Okay, so the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. This devil has been able to put on, all right, for a long time as if he had it figured out. Okay, that humanity should follow him. Okay, and transcend. Okay, into this new, you know, like he just, like Esau had the way. That's how he's been able to put on. Okay, like he was just a gift to humanity. His wisdom, his knowledge. The devil was just able to put on like he was just this great gift. Okay, to humanity, man. Okay, and which we find out to be the opposite, man. This man is a plague in the earth. Okay, but let's play this real quick. Check your boy out, man. All right.
Donald Trump was panicking last night in the White House, having yet another psychotic meltdown in the Oval Office, ranting and raving like a lunatic, posting social media messages saying, Minnesota is mine. I won Minnesota 3 times. No, Donald, you lost Minnesota every election. Donald Trump continued to make social media posts acting like an absolute lunatic. He sent emails to his supporters begging for more money. You don't get more pathetic than this. Donald Trump giving the middle finger yesterday before flying back to Washington, D.C. when he was in Detroit at that Ford factory. One of the Ford factory union workers said to Donald Trump, "You're a pedo protector. You're a pedophile protector." Donald Trump lost it on the guy and started giving him the middle finger and saying, F you, F you. The guy's name, by the way, a real hero, TJ Sabula, a 40-year-old United Auto worker, local 600 line worker.
Trump out here wilding, man. Flipping people off at the plant, cussing niggas out, man. Nigga frustrated, man. Okay, and like I say, he's just middle management, man, and they putting all this pressure on this nigga to be this distraction. Okay, while they dismantle, America. You see, to weaken America for this new world order. And he's the logo. He's the one that has to take the brunt of the blame. Okay, So yeah, this nigga, you can tell this nigga is frustrated, but this represents the frustration of these devils, man, in general, man. Okay, and Trump is a child. You see, Walter D. Land when that king is a child, man. We can bring that out every day. Okay, but yeah, Trump cussing niggas out, throwing up the bird like he's the president. What you doing, flipping niggas off, man? The Esau just these Western Edomites have no nobility about themselves, man. These are complete lowlifes, man. Okay. My boy Trump, man. He went through the bird on your ass, man. Okay. Frustrated as hell. So let's just play a little more.
Protector. You're a pedophile protector. Donald Trump lost it on the guy and started giving him the middle finger and saying, F you, F you. The guy's name, by the way, a real hero, TJ Sabula, a 40-year-old United Auto worker, local 600 line worker who was at the Ford factory that Donald Trump was visiting and doing a propaganda stunt. And TJ Sabula was saying, pedophile protector, pedophile protector. Trump was like, F you, F you. And then Sabula said after, and by the way, he was put on leave and suspended from his job. He has a GoFundMe right now, though, and people really want to support this guy and think that he deserves the support of all of us. But he goes, as far as calling him out, definitely no regrets whatsoever of calling Trump out, Sabula said. He goes on to say he's definitely concerned about his job at this point. And he says, I'm now being targeted for political retribution for embarrassing Donald Trump in front of his friends. Sabula identifies as politically independent and said he never voted for Trump but has supported other Republicans. He estimated that he was roughly 60 feet away from Donald Trump on Tuesday and that the president could hear him very, very clearly. He said he was specifically referencing Trump's handling of the Epstein matter. I don't feel as though fate looks upon you often, and when it does, you better be ready to seize the opportunity, Sabula said. And today, I think I did that. And Donald Trump's White House was panicking last night. You could see Donald Trump in the Oval Office. Do you see him right there? You could see him through the window. And the Trump regime responded. A lunatic was wildly screaming expletives in a complete fit of rage, and the president gave an appropriate and unambiguous response, Stephen Chung said in a statement to the Washington Post. That's Donald Trump's communications director. And I saw one commentator say Donald Trump giving the middle finger to union workers, to auto workers, is a perfect symbolism of this despicable regime, giving the middle finger to the workers, giving the middle finger to manufacturers as Donald Trump steals from them and gives money to his billionaire buddies. By the way.
Yeah, man. So you have, the devil, because see, Trump loves praise, like, you can tell he's all about, having a reputation of looking a certain way, but the mission that they got his ass on now, all right, this man is, he's becoming a villain, to the simple, he's going to always be this hero type figure. Okay. But what you have is this man is becoming, a major villain, being booed, when he go out, which ultimately he don't care because he's a globalist. Okay. They promise him, favor in this new world order. Okay. So he never gave a damn anyway, but you can tell, he don't like, the image. Okay. And there's this devil, he's in the midst of trying to pull this shit off, and it's not working like it used to work. You see, these devils are just used to making things happen back to back to back, and it just fall in line, but it's not working like that. And this devil got so much to try to pull off. Okay? So let's get this, open another video. So let's go here. This is over here in, because we were talking about, the dragons of Arabia, because the prophecy, teach about that alliance with the dragons of Arabia, so we'll get that. So this is it's the brother remnant, loyal to Yahushua, Ecclesiastes 10:6. Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child and thy princes eat in the morning. And Donald Trump is a beautiful representation. Okay, when your leaders, are childlike. Okay, and these devils are very irresponsible how they rule the earth, and they don't consider consequences. You see, the American government does a lot of things that puts the American population in major harm's way. Okay, and what we're seeing is the Lord has it set up to where these devils, their decision making is going to get America nuked. That's why I say, woe to thee, old land of America, destruction. Okay, you have a king, all right, you have a child in power. Okay, even beyond, Trump, which he's middle management. Okay, but even the elites, their children, man, them trying to pull off this new world order, they're not considering, okay, the damage and the consequences and the repercussions behind their actions, man. Okay, which is gonna get America turned to a desert. Okay, the earth is gonna rail to and fro okay, from this war. And Yahweh Shai is going to come back with great judgment, man, throughout the earth. Okay, because these children in power, all right, are making these foolish decisions, okay, to bring on all this judgment. And this is what we're seeing. Okay, so this devil, these moves that this devil is making, the Lord has this devil self-destructing right before us, man. But he's trying to put on like he got it together. Nigga don't. Okay? What type of leader, cursing out his, his subjects and giving them the finger, man. Okay, tacky, man. This man not fit for rulership. Okay? This your brother you call hopeful 144. Jeremiah 51 and 55 said, because the Lord has spoiled Babylon and destroyed out of her the great voice, when her wave do roar like great waters, a noise, all right, their voice is uttered. Okay? And you go into, like when it's a storm, okay, the ocean is what? The waters are what? Chaotic. Okay, and there was a time when America was a great voice. Okay, America was the leader of the world. You know, America was always wicked, but there was a time when they had, some royal etiquette about themselves. They was always wicked and crooked and had, particular things going on, but there was still, a residue or some type of etiquette. The way that they would deal. Okay, but now it's the straight slums. It's America just turned into a bando. Okay, under Trump, they running this like a trap house, man. Okay, it's just a ball of confusion. You see, so the Lord has turned, that great voice that America used to have into like a chaotic storm. Okay, and this is what we see unfolding now. Going back, dealing with war. Okay, let's go here because as we know, America, has these Gulf, all right, nations in their pocket. Okay, but what we're starting to see now is these Gulf nations, okay, are beginning to buck up. Okay, they're not with what America trying to do with Iran. Okay, and this is going to cause these Arab nations, the dragons of Arabia, to flip. Okay, and link with Iran, according to Second Ezra 15. So we're seeing the beginning phases of that, man. Okay, now of course, America, Qatar can't force America out. None of these Arab nations can force America out. Okay, but they can stop cooperating, and they can begin to start setting up traps for America. You see, they can begin to work against America, man. Okay, and this the Lord is causing this to happen, man. So let's go over here to Qatar, which Qatar is one of the major military bases, okay, in their region to where America operates from, and this will be a heavy loss, to have, Qatar to be hostile against the West, okay, against America, man, okay, and it will swing favor into the alliance of Russia, Iran, and China, so we're starting to see, these Arab nations begin to kick back. I'm gonna play this, some more stuff I want to look into. I think it's a few other nations, they're speaking out, against America intention in the small has to start a regional war because they know that they got to suffer the consequences of that war. See, America go over here and do all this bullshit, but missiles don't fly in their airspace when they do this bullshit over here. These nations got to deal with the recoil. It's their infrastructure that's destroyed. They got to ground all their flights because the sky is full of missiles. Okay, because America interference. Okay, and America provoking wars in this region, man. Okay, and these nations, they fed up with that, man. They like, look, man, y'all come over here and start this shit, but we got to deal with this shit, man. When these people attack y'all bases, we gotta suffer, man. The fact that y'all here, we gotta suffer for y'all poor decision making, man. So these nations, like, man, we gotta do something else, man. And it's the spirit of the Lord that's orchestrating this, man.
Islamic Nation to kick out U.S. forces? America on verge of losing its biggest base in the Middle East? You are just a tenant. The stunning warning rippling through Washington. Qatar's unexpected warning to Trump after forcing him to leave mission Iran. Rare Muslim unity against U.S. or just an eyewash? Al Udeid Air Base, the nerve center of U.S. power projection in the region, is at the center of the storm. If reports are to be believed, Qatar has warned the United States. In a blunt warning, a senior member of Qatar's ruling family said that American forces are just a tenant at Al Udeid Air Base, as per Defense Security Asia report. The warning came from Khalid bin Jassim Al Thani, who is a prominent member of Qatar's ruling family closely associated with foreign affairs discourse. The unusual and blunt geopolitical warning by Al Thani reframed the U.S. military presence at Al Udeid Air Base as conditional, transactional, and subject to Qatari sovereignty rather than American entitlement. He further said, if Qatar decides to dismantle the American base on its territory, it would not harm us much, but for you, it would amount to cutting off one of your hands in the Middle East, a phrase that struck at the operational heart of U.S. Central Command's forward posture. But Khalid bin Jassim Al Thani's warning uniquely destabilized Qatar and not the United States, since Doha has financed much of Al Udeid's construction and expansion, investing several billion U.S. dollars into infrastructure designed primarily for American strategic benefit. The remarks also reflect frustration over America's mixed signals. Qatar is officially designated a major non-NATO ally, yet repeatedly criticized by Washington over alleged ties to Hamas, even as Doha plays a central role in mediation, hostage talks, and back-channel diplomacy, an ally and a target of suspicion. The timing is critical. These remarks emerged precisely as the United States and United Kingdom quietly relocated non-essential personnel from Al Udeid amid rising tensions with Iran. The base is in the crosshairs of U.S. strategic decisions. It involuntarily draws into escalation dynamics given its location. The base sits directly across the Persian Gulf from Iranian territory, placing it squarely in any future escalation. Now the big question is Washington being forced to rethink its footprint? Is Doha asserting leverage in a volatile region? And could this signal a rare alignment among Muslim nations?
Yeah, and it's the Lord doing this, man. Because it's written in prophecy, and these nations have been allied with, these Arab, nations have been allied with America for a long time. All right, but remember, he frustrated the tokens of liars. All right, went to the word frustrated, which is parah in the Hebrew, and it means to what? To break up, to shatter, to cause to split, division. Okay, so the Lord is dividing things up for his will to come to pass. Okay, so Qatar, which is a heavy strategic, air base, all right, one of the biggest air bases in, what they call the Middle East. Okay, one of their biggest air bases, and now we're seeing Qatar voicing, frustration. Okay, and this is just a setup, okay, for betrayal. Okay, this is just set up for betrayal, man, because Iran and America don't talk directly; they talk through Qatar. Okay, even when you had, those peace deals, that was supposed to take place, those peace negotiations between Iran and America, well, it was supposed to be hosted in Qatar. Okay, and then what happened? America bombed them. I mean, the small has bombed them. Okay, and then you even had those small has bombed. Okay, Qatar. The small has bombed Qatar. Okay, so these nations are like, bro, this can't, this ain't the play, man. All right, now just to show you real quick, I just want to show that, because even when you go to their channel, matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it back up in a minute, but just to show a map real quick, and y'all let me know if y'all can see this map. Um, wrong way. Let me see. Yeah, y'all let me know if y'all can see this map, just to show you what it's at. Okay, come. So when you look at this map, right here is this orange. This is Iran. So this the Persian Gulf. Now all that oil, let me bag out just a little bit. You can get a good view. So just to show you what they've been talking about, um, dealing with, okay, the Strait of Hormuz. So this is Iran, okay, and then you have Qatar right here, okay, and this is their base. This is one of America's, biggest military bases right here in Qatar. All right. Now, Iran, okay, has the ability to just flatten Qatar. Qatar is a sitting duck, completely helpless against Iranian aggression. Okay, Kuwait, all right, Abu Dhabi, okay, United Arab Emirates, and all these nations are completely, okay, sitting ducks. And see, America, they have these alliances with Saudi Arabia right here, okay. So America has troops all in this region. That's why these nations are like, look, because they right here between, like they literally between this shit, literally. Okay. So this is why these Arab nations are saying, look, man, you can't just come over here and start this war with these folks, man. And y'all got all y'all shit in our country. And they telling you what they gonna do. And then these nations know that they don't have nothing to stop these Iranian ballistic missiles, man. Okay, Iran just can send them strike packages back to back to back, man, and just pummel these countries, man. Okay, so they letting America know, like, look, man, we got to do so. You got to do something different, man. And then we go to the Strait of Hormuz, which is right here. Let me blow it up so we can see. So you got the Strait of Hormuz. So all the oil that comes from Qatar, the United Arabs, Saudi Arabia, has to go through the Persian Gulf and come through the Strait of Hormuz, through the Arabian Sea, then it's the Indian Ocean, to the west, and then the Atlantic Ocean, the Indian Ocean to the east, and the Atlantic Ocean to the west. So this is where like 40% of the world's oil supply comes through this strait. So Iran is right here. Okay, Iran even has islands in the Strait of Hormuz. All right, and they can completely shut this strait down. Okay, which will be a choke point to the world's energy. Okay, so this is the leverage that Iran has. Now, what what we're seeing happening, okay, like I said, is these Gulf nations are like, look, this would be catastrophic for us, man, because if they can't get their oil out and they're getting struck by Iranian missiles, man, that's going to be a nightmare. Okay, so these nations like, look, man, we can't go. That's why they call it strike out. That's a part of why they call it strike out, man, because these Gulf nations wasn't with it. Okay, because they know this time there's no telling what this gonna turn into. Then they factoring in Russia and China because they know China, a lot of their oil comes through there. Okay, China would have to get involved. If the Strait of Hormuz is shut down, China would have to get involved. The Lord got it set up to where these nations have to get involved. They can't be conservative and play the bench no more. They got to get involved. Okay, because this is a major lifeline. You see, so this devil, he has to deal with this. Then he has to deal with, the digital ID. Matter of fact, let me see if I can look that up real quick. All right. But yeah, so just want to get that map so we can see where these places are, and also the Strait of Hormuz and how important that is because all the oil from Iraq, I can't forget about Iraq. Okay, the oil that comes from Iraq, Saudi Arabia. Okay, because when you look at let's look at this real quick. List top oil. So real quick, see if it give us a list. So real quick, let's look at this. So this is a list of countries by rank. All right, there's oil producing countries. Okay, and this is barrels by day. So you have America, all right, which is the number one oil producing, but it's the oil that America produces. They have to send to, okay, the Middle East. All right, they have to do what they call oil swaps because America can't refine most of the oil that it drills. Okay, but they have refineries in the Middle East. Okay, they can refine that oil, for their own use. So America, it deals with a bunch of oil swaps. Okay, they depend on their oil from Saudi. Okay, then you see Russia number three, um, uh, Canada, China. All right, but then you go here to Iraq. All right, Iran, United Arabs, Kuwait. Now all these are in the Persian Gulf. So if Iran shuts down the Persian Gulf, then all the oil that comes from Saudi Arabia, okay, all the oil that comes from Iraq, Iran, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, all that oil comes to a halt. All those barrels per day come to a screeching halt. Okay, you got Oman, that's in there as well. It's one of those nations that's okay within that choke point. So all that will come to a screeching halt. Okay, and that's what Iran said they would do if they ever got into an all-out war with America, man. Okay, so them Gulf, them Arab states like, nah, we can't do that. You know, that's that can't be done. So even when you go here, I want to look this up too, because I say this devil got that he got to deal with. Then he got the fact that let me see. Did the UK have to back down from digital ID. Yep. So let's go here. I don't know if this pulled up. So just real quick, and remember this nigga here, Keir Starmer, he was talking tough, like you must have the digital ID to work. He announced that. He said that with his chest a few months ago. Like, nigga, you got to have the digital ID to work. Okay. But now when you look here, so I asked, did the UK have to back down from digital ID? It says yes, the UK government significantly backed down in January 2026, dropping the mandatory requirement for a digital ID to prove the right to work. Following major backlash, nearly 3 million petition signatures and criticism from civil liberty groups, unions, and even some of its own MPs, while digital right to work checks will still become mandatory by 2029. Workers can now use existing documents like biometric passports and third-party apps instead of enrolling in the government's digital ID system, repositioning the ID more as a voluntary tool for accessing public services, man. Okay? So remember there's this big fuss about the digital ID mandate in the UK, and the nigga had to back off of it, man. Okay? Because people weren't going. This nigga gonna have to do something drastic, man. Okay? He gonna have to do something drastic to get the compliance that he wants, man. This devil is scrambling. Okay? Everything that this devil is trying to do, man, is not working in his favor. When it comes to war, when it comes to the digital system, when it comes to civil unrest, when it comes to trying to suppress the truth, okay, he's not winning on no front. Okay, that's why this man, the ultimate thing, this man just gonna wild out. When he's like a madman sparing none, that's Esau. He just done completely clicked out. Okay, because he frustrated. Okay, so say that I have anything else. I might say that for yeah. So yeah, let's get this. I think that was all I had for the video. Okay. Well, let's get this in First Corinthians. Get ready to close out. So this is the book of First Corinthians. All right. Verse 25, 1 Corinthians 1 and 25, it says, because the foolishness of the Most High is wiser than men, and the weakness of the Most High is stronger than men. Okay, so what this world, considers foolish, when it pertains to the Most High, okay, is wiser than men. So what we're seeing is the true wisdom, okay, beginning to rise, and Esau wisdom is becoming foolish. Okay, because the only thing that makes sense is the talking points of the prophets through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai. Okay, the only solution to the problem is the complete reset. America being destroyed. Okay, these heathens going into captivity. Okay, that's the wise solution to all the madness that this devil, okay, has established in the earth. It says, for you see your calling, brethren. All right, how there not many wise after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called, but the Most High has chosen the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. Because in the sight of the world, we seem foolish. When we talk about America being destroyed, and okay, when we talk about these heathens going into captivity, when we talk about running the earth with the law, statutes, and commandments, that's foolish to most people. Okay. But that's really true wisdom. Like that's the best judgment for the circumstances we in. This is the righteous judgment. This is the wise judgment. Okay, this devil needs to be immediately removed from power. Okay, and these heathens need to go into captivity to learn righteousness, man. Okay, the earth needs a true reset in righteousness, man, not a digital system. Okay, with a nigga drilling in your skull, putting a device, linking a device to your neural system. That's madness, man. That's crazy as hell. Okay, and so many other things that don't make no goddamn sense that the devil wants to establish. It says, but the Most High have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and the Most High have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty, man. So through this word, us in this lower state, but the Lord has given us this mighty word, and it's bringing down this whole system. This word is bringing down this system, man. Okay, because out of everything that's happening with this devil, okay, the top of the priority is this word going out to prophets, because through this word, his whole system is uprooted. Okay, we're not trying to fix the system within the system. No, we coming with a word that's uprooting this system, man. Like Howard Shah said, you have faith of a mustard seed, you can remove a mountain. Okay, so the faith of the prophets with this word is removing the mountain, man, which is government, this beast system. Okay, so this devil is losing ground, man, and he's gonna have to get uh he gonna have to tighten his bootstraps and really come with it. Okay, and it says, and base things of the world and things which are despised have the Most High chosen, yeah, and things which are not to bring the naught things that are, man. So this current functioning, society, okay, is being overwhelmed by the preaching of His word, okay, and that's how the Lord, had it set up from the beginning. So that was the point, just wanted to get into that, so Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters were edified once again. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful, like Shalom.